Welcome back to Momentous Struggle, a Star Wars gaming podcast with Shatterpoint and stuff like things going on. We'll say that for now. This week I think Aubrey and I were going to talk about adjusting to the meta as the meta rotates and changes, kind of like looking at, kind of taking a TCG approach to it, since there's been a lot of shakeup happening in our current meta with everything going on. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that and maybe talk about some events that have been going on. So with all of that said, let's jump on into it. Aubrey, how you doing, man?
Todd, my computer was not working. My headphones were not working. I couldn't see you. It was very sad. It was darkness all around. And worst of all, someone who shall remain nameless forgot to put the coffee on and get it ready last night, and so there is no coffee in my hands right now. I don't know who that was, but that person must be silenced.
Why would you say that about Talia, man? She's a nice person.
What? No, it was me. I'm the one who forgot the coffee.
I know. I'm just trying to sit there and put that on record that you're blaming her so that you can get in trouble for that. That's what I'm trying to do, so that I can sit there and go back and man, Aubrey was talking crap about you on the podcast about making coffee, just to sit there and see her get all fired up. That's really what I was thinking.
She might hear you.
I know.
She's sleeping right now. Stop. No.
I know. I'm trying to have fun with this. Yeah, that's good.
How are you doing, Todd? Let's stop talking about how it's definitely not Talia's fault that I don't have coffee right now.
I'm good, man. Recovering from vacation, because, vacations are not always, easygoing and stuff like that. So, no, totally just recovering from all of the vacation stuff, because my wife has to have an adventure every day of a vacation. We can't just go and chill. Like, me and my daughter would rather just sit at the Airbnb by the hotel or by the pool at the Airbnb and not do anything all day, but my wife has to have adventures. So yes, we went out we rented a boat, we went to this cove, that was kind of I think we were one of two groups of people on it. It was fun, but yeah, always busy. I always need a vacation from my vacation when it comes to my family vacations.
Yeah, I understand that. That's because you are also running the gauntlet of you have an itty bitty, although man, she's getting bigger.
She'll be 10 this year, so not really that itty.
Oh no, she's gonna be double digits. Oh my word. Oh, time keeps marching on. Anyway, but you're running the gauntlet of you have every stage of child. You have an adult child, a teen child, and a child. So right. you have to deal with all three sorts of logistics just with the kids. And then, Colleen strikes me as I'm amazed she doesn't make you run a marathon while you're on vacation. That would just be fun for her.
No, you see, I'm what I refer to as the athletic supporter. I just go out and watch her run and do all of the things to help her recover after the runs. So, yes.
Good job, Coach. Good job.
Yeah, sometimes working at the aid stations, because if I volunteer at most of the races, then she gets discounts on her races, type of a thing. So that was a lot of what I would do, is just be a volunteer so that she could run for cheaper.
Nice. Yeah, go shill for me while I run.
Yep, basically. Yep. No, that'd be what I would do. But yeah, so have you been doing anything gaming related over the last week?
So unfortunately, all right, I'm beginning to understand why Matt Booker stopped doing his meetups on Friday, because this is the second time in a row where I've been like, hey everybody, does anybody want to play a game of, I don't know, Shatterpoint, Malediction, Trench Crusade, Star Wars Unlimited. I was going through the list and I got one reaction and then a bunch of people memeing on me, and I'm like, guys, I just want to play with my little plastic army men. And so that didn't happen. But I actually brought, because I'm very happy with how this turned out, I did a bunch of hobbying this week, including this big guy. Those of you who are not watching on YouTube, I've got my brazen bull from Trench Crusade. I know it's probably not very clear, but I did a couple of paint sessions with Justin, and he was helping me work on my how to do the undercoat for metallics. I know he doesn't use a lot of metallic paints very often, but he was explaining how to get a good color, and then like I was looking through my washes, and my washes were all like not quite right. So he's like, "Well, try this one," and it turned out really good. So I almost have like this is probably the most I've painted in this short of a time. So I must have gotten better somewhere. But I've got almost my whole warband painted. I got to work on later today. I'm gonna work on the bases. I got to do some base work, and then there's like cleanup. Like I looked at his sword. I don't know what happened. Well, I've never painted a model this big, right? But like my wash on the sword, it like pooled in a couple of places.
Yeah.
Like you probably can't see. And I've never had that. Well, okay, in the early days of washing, yes, I've had that happen. But I haven't had that happen in a while. And I think it's just like the curvature of the blade combined with how big it is, because it didn't pool in like a crevice or anything. It just pooled on the blade.
You probably put it on a little too thick too, and then didn't wipe it away. Like that's one of the things. Like with washes, a lot
Yeah.
of times you have to make sure that you're pulling a lot of that excess off with like a Q-tip or a brush or something like that, so it just doesn't leave all that. It doesn't pool like that. So, but it's an easy
Wait,
fix.
come on, Todd. You remember my first Darth Vader? I like to put the paint on as thick as possible. You just turn the whole pot over on top of the model,
Yep.
and then it turns out great, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I also, and I know we're gonna talk about this. I didn't do the gaming, but I was present for the tail end of Matt's event at Gamers Guild Tempe yesterday. And spoilers, everyone, for our main discussion. There was a ton of Empire there. Cue the Imperial March, everybody. I think Empire might be back on the menu, boys and girls and non-binary pals, whatever you go by.
Nice. Yeah, no, it'll be pretty interesting. Yeah, let's see. So I've been getting painting done, just doing a lot of painting. I painted because I'm almost at my 50 games with A Force in Marvel Crisis Protocol. So once I get that, I'm moving on to Asgard. So it's like, okay, I have to get all the new Asgard stuff painted up, built and painted, because like they have the new the. Have you seen the new Valkyrie model?
No.
So it's like so. So it's Valkyrie. Let's see if I can get this on a Pegasus, like riding in. On a Pegasus.
What?
And
Don't tell Sin.
right.
She probably already
And
does.
then she probably already does. And then there's also the Warriors 3. It came in a box with Warriors 3, so I have to build those and paint those. Along with I still have stuff from the original, like the other most recent box. So it's like I have like five Asgard models that I need to paint and get ready for that. But I still have like I think 4 more games that I need to play before I get my 50 game badge for that. So we're doing that. Let's see, finishing up. I'm almost done with the starter set from Legion for the Rebel starter set. I only have the 22 Rebel troopers left to paint. They're already built in Prime. Just need to paint those, and then I'll probably get a game in with those. And then let's see. Yeah, that's all for that. I've been going I think this weekend alone will be the 3rd week in a row that I've went and played SWU. I've been doing the draft for Star Wars Unlimited, so I've been doing a lot of that too. Probably I might start recording some of those like drafts and stuff like that just for fun, because those are pretty neat. Because like basically you draft and then you just do a best of one. So it's like basically you just play one quick game and it's over type of a thing, and it's only like a 30 card deck, so it's a fast game.
Wait, you just play one round?
Yeah, well, you play 3 rounds, but it's only best of one for each round.
It's just best. Oh, that's. Wait a minute. Where are you doing this?
Over at Gamers Guild in North Phoenix, they do it every Sunday night.
Huh. I might
Yeah,
have to.
it's
I
fun.
might have to leave the house and do that. Well, not today. Not today though, because recording with Accuser, we're doing a lore episode about the Mandalorian movie. So, but I'll have to.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that one of those days. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So basically, because like each deck or each pack of cards like comes with a leader, right? And that's so what you do is you open up your pack, each pack, you pull all three of the leaders, then you draft those three. So like you'll pick one of the three that you pulled, pass to the left, then like and you'll draft another one out of the two that are remaining. Then like you get the last one. So like you draft the three leaders, and then you go into drafting the rest of the packs, like one pack at a time.
Okay, that sounds like fun. That's what I was gonna ask next. Okay, all
Yeah.
right. Because I still haven't played with the decks I built in person. I've just been playing online a little bit here and there. So I gotta get some SWU action in here soon.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no
And
Shatterpoint for me.
yeah, and the group that's there, like they're all super casual types. Except like there's one guy that's like a couple guys that'll show up that are pretty like try hardy types, but they're also like just super nice too. So like they're just like everyone's there just kind of hanging out, having like eating on some French fries and having some beers and stuff like that. So it's a good time.
Very nice, very nice.
But yeah, all right. I guess we can kind of jump in. Like, we can jump into like what the events that have been going on. I think because like I know you said you went over and checked out the event that Booker ran. He had 10 players that showed up, which was pretty awesome. So 10 players that showed up to his event, and Chrono Ranger, of course, that's Calvert. He ended up winning the event, playing his Ewoks like he always does. Which is pretty cool. I
Woo.
mean, because he brought like the full Ewoks. He brought Logray, he brought Chirpa, he brought Leia, Freedom Fighter, and then he also has General Han Solo. So his list is always pretty solid.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's Return of the Jedi all the way down.
Yep. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, and then Holden looks like he took second, but he was playing like a Vader Padme list, which looks pretty spicy. So there was a lot of Padme out there. I think there was there was two people that played Padme. A lot of I don't think I saw any Baylan, but a lot of Morgan. A lot of Morgan.
Yeah,
So there was like one, two, four Morgans. 4 out of the 10 people played Morgan.
yeah. Apparently, everybody really wanted to play Morgan because they put those models together and painted them. I think I only saw one person playing with unpainted models, and I was like, guys, man, you really wanted to play you really wanted to play this box, huh? So it was
Yeah.
cool. Matt pulled me in to do the painting competition, but of course Holden was there. And as I'm looking around, I'm like, I don't. I'm like, these all seem like pretty fast jobs, and Matt's like, no, no, no. Ask Holden to look at his Padme and his Sabe, and I was like, okay. Oh my god, the work he did on both of their faces, because of course they're in the face paint from episode one, right?
Hmm.
He got the details so done so well. It looked so clean. I'm like, all right. I'm just handing you the paint competition card. Like it's
Right.
fine. We're done here. Here you go. Hold on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's just an amazing painter. So, but yeah, I mean, looking at that, Veers was played by 5 players. In 10 games, so each person that played him twice. Vader one, of course, was there. Like I think Vader one's kind of the obvious choice when you go to a new meta, like if when it comes to Vaders. But so he was brought by 4 players. Morgan Elspeth was brought by 4 players. So it's and then like again going to more Empire. 3 people brought Grand Inquisitor. 3 people brought Moff Gideon. One person actually brought Iden, which was pretty cool. But yeah, a lot of Empire, as you were alluding to.
Yeah, and then I'm kind of amazed that 2 players brought Riff. Like, not that Riff's bad or anything. I just would have expected, like, I guess that slot to be Baylan. Like, expected people to try more things, but no. They wanted to play Mr. Fishman.
I mean, first event after a rotation type of event, and I think you're going to sit there and see a lot of that kind of happen, where a lot of people are going to just kind of go to what they're comfortable with before they start playing, like to see what all the new stuff is, the people playing all the new stuff, and getting used to that, so that they're not, I think, taxing your mind a little bit too much, because it's like, okay, I'm learning new things while playing against new things at the same time, I think is difficult. So I can understand kind of wanting to go and play something you're comfortable with.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I see. So I decided to dig deeper and answer my own question. So, first off, it was Holden, and we know Holden likes Shark Boy. He played him with Mando, looks like. And then the other one, I should have realized. I forgot who was there. We gave Chris new Separatist toys. That's who it
Right.
was. And so he was playing. Looks like he was playing an Aqua list because he was playing him with Kit. So that's pretty fun.
Right. Yeah. Looks like it was like, I mean, and that's, if you lean into that Aqua stuff, that's pretty cool. So yeah, definitely can see wanting to play some of the new separatists, like the new droids and the updated droids. I think would be pretty fun to play against too. So, but yeah, there was a lot of that going on. There was actually two people that played, because Fearblood Wolf, he also played his, because he always plays Ewoks also. So he brought his Ewoks list with Fulcrum though instead of General Solo.
That's you know what? I I really need to pick his brain about how Fulcrum played with all the Ewoks. I mean, originally the intent of Ewoks was to be a very aggressive list, and now that they've improved them, I wonder just how aggressive they are. And Fulcrum also wants to be aggressive, so using her as a closer after soften them up with teddy bears. Okay, all right, I see it,
Yeah.
I see it.
Seems pretty solid. Seems pretty solid. But yeah, looks like overall like a lot of fun. A lot of, like I said, a lot of Empire as you were alluding to. But of course, the Ewoks come out on top at the end of the day. So Calvert
Just like Return
teaching
of the
everyone
Jedi.
about, right, right. But yeah, no, I think it was. I mean, it's interesting to see the list. But I mean, overall, I mean, there's also a really big list that kind of or a really big event that kind of happened in Europe over the weekend too. I don't know if you were
No.
aware of this, but there was the UK Games Expo had their grand tournament with 32 players that played in that tournament this weekend. So they had a really big tournament over there.
You did not see that. Let's see.
Yeah, yeah.
Grand
So they
Expo.
Yeah, so the Games Expo they had a total of 32 players, and it's always interesting to kind of see like the meta over on the other side of the pond over there, and kind of what like the European and then you also look at like the Australians. They have their own unique meta as well. Over there, it doesn't look like there was a lot of new stuff that got played. Again, I mean there was three people that brought Morgan. There was three people that brought Baylan, but the most brought player, or most brought character, I should say, was Moff Gideon, and then he was brought 8 times, played in 19 games. And then the next one was Clone Sergeant Hunter. He was brought 7 times, played in 21 games. There were 6 people that brought Boss though. The updated Boss was brought and played in 20 games. Veers was brought 6 times, both the Vaders. But Cassian was brought 5 times. So it was interesting to see like you don't see that as such a high volume of Cassian and such a high volume of Boss, which is kind of nice to see that was like lowered down quite a bit.
Yeah, they're back to just being a piece of the meta. Although, I mean, I was talking to Chris and Matt about this at the event yesterday, and I mean, I'm probably my first event next week. I'm gonna bring some sort of Cassian list because he's just good. Like he's
Right.
not cracked anymore, but his whole kit looks great. So I was actually surprised we didn't see at least a little more Boss, because I feel like Boss got pulled down a peg a little bit less, but I mean that's still a pretty good spread of games. What looks like hunt at that event, Hunter and Boss were, wow,
I
they
mean,
played a lot of games with him though.
yeah, and I mean, and Boss was in the third place list. So I mean, like Boss ended up, he still was in the mix at least for that. But I mean, the 5-0 list for the weekend was a Vader, Moff Gideon, with Kanan and Jyn Erso list, which is a pretty interesting that you have.
Wait. Kanan, Jyn Erso? I'm going back.
Yeah, so it was
What?
Kanan, Ezra, Commandos with Jyn, Callus,
Yep.
and Zeb. So looks like a
What?
pretty
What?
interesting list.
And Zeb?
Yeah.
What?
So pretty interesting list. Granted, okay. So keep in mind they only played that list once. So he stuck
Oh,
with playing just
okay.
Vader,
Okay.
just primarily playing Vader with Moff Gideon, and for all of the games, but did go 2-0 with that Kanan list.
Well, and And also, the Vader list is very interesting because this is not Jedi Hunter. This is
No, it's
Emperor's
Vader too.
Servant, DTE, ISBs, Moff Gideon, Third Sister, Fifth Brother. That's very different. And then on Never Tell, I mean, you have the new and improved Infiltrate, but
Right.
but still, okay. I'm glad you brought up this event. This is fascinating because I was gonna be like, well, wait a minute. What about the other Matt's event this weekend? Because I know Damio Matt ran an event this weekend too, right?
He did. He did indeed. So yeah, I mean, but
And
yeah, I mean, this one was definitely interesting. I mean, it's there was like Baylan took like the Baylan list took fifth place. So I mean, like there was still some really good stuff going on there, and everything along those lines. I'm trying to find. Okay, so was that? I'm not even sure. Let's see.
yeah, it was the same weekend, 30th, 31st. That Top Deck Games in New Jersey.
Okay, I am trying to find. It might
Yeah.
still be going
So
on though because it's only Sunday here. So yeah, it's still an ongoing list. He had 20 players as well. So I just had to go to a different screen. But he had 20 players that
oh
showed up.
yeah,
So that's
yeah,
a
it's
pretty
still
good.
going on.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good turnout right there. So as we speak, they're in the top cut. Dean, who was the second place at Worlds this year, he's in first place right now. Um, Interesting. I mean, like, there's a lot of big name players from Worlds are there. So you have Dean is there, General
Evan.
Joseph, yep, Grand Moff Eric, Evan Riff is there. So quite a few. Alexel Ryan is there as well. So I mean, a lot of big players showing up in there. So right now they're in the top cut. Grand Moff Eric, General Joseph, and Iceman Dean are all in the top four, along with I don't know who Rock is, but along with Rock. So right now, it doesn't even look like they've made the pairings for the top cut as of yet. So
Yeah, I'm
pretty
trying to figure out.
interesting though.
They must be starting later in the day, or I don't.
Well, it's only
I don't know.
12:40 there right now. So if they started at like say 10 o'clock or 10:30, I mean they would have just been finishing up the round right about now. So
Oh right. Oh right. Because they probably played. Let's see.
so yeah, I
Oh
mean
no. There's. It looks like there's scoring from round one top cut.
yeah, round one. I'm saying they haven't started round two yet.
Oh. 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 Todd, I haven't had coffee yet. I'm slow. Carry on.
But yeah, so it's pretty interesting to see like I mean they had a lot of good American players that showed up. Like I said, Grand Moff Eric, General Joseph, Iceman Dean, Mike D'Ambrosia was there, Evan. I mean just a lot of a lot of the players that you see at the top of the leaderboard pretty frequently showing up there. So Andrew Radio Santi was there as well. So yeah, I mean they did 4 rounds of Swiss probably yesterday, and then into the top cut today. So pretty exciting stuff, man. It's nice to see like the amount of players that showed up and played and had a good time. So really excited to see him having a pretty successful event. I know he took our wooden porg idea for the instead of a wooden spoon and ran with that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. 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 So the looking at Iceman Dean's list because I'm seeing that people are favoring a Jedi Hunter list that's more Republic themed, and it's
Hmm.
like apparently Vader is still an honorary Jedi because it's with Kiadi Mundi, Ahsoka, Republic Commandos, Padawan learners, and Obi-Wan out of hiding. Haven't seen him a lot recently, but here we are.
Again, kind of going back to like I think when a meta shifts, you go back to like some stuff that you're comfortable with. But I mean, like you said, playing the Padawans under Obi-Wan with their update is kind of a good thing to do as well. But I mean, I like Obi there. He's a nice. He's always been a pseudo control piece that's always been fun to kind of play.
And hey, we got a full Republic roster here with Master Plo Koon. I'm waiting for the list to actually load, so that's why I can't talk anymore.
Oh,
Besides
for
the
Rock,
primaries,
yeah.
I'm like there.
I
I'm
know.
like there we go. Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of people probably on Longshanks right now, so Longshanks is probably a little laggy as we're kind of going through everything because a lot of big events that were happening and stuff this weekend. But yeah, I mean, Plo with Shock T and 501st, which 100% makes sense. But Kiadi Mundi with Barris is
Yeah,
interesting.
that's what I wanted to say. I was like, wait a minute, because we're seeing what Rogue Support talked about on their episode. Padme, Pons, and Seven Scorch seems to be kind of a favorite if you're not just running her box. Because I know
Mhm.
the Handmaidens are still kind of squishy, even though the rest of Padme's box got a big glow up. But we get to see Captain Rex here. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is like going with like the Jedi Hunter with Rex and the Padawans again with Padme and Pons and Seven Scorch, really still leaning into that melee focused list that you have quite a bit, and that's I think what you're going to do a lot. I mean, and Padme, I mean, you saw Padme get it played a lot before the buff, before the update, the errata with Boss. I mean, she paired really well with Boss. So it's not surprising, especially now with her update, to see her kind of getting played still with some of the units from that Delta Force box.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We got it.
But
It's
a
a
lot of
brand new world,
cool.
Todd.
It is, yeah, a lot of cool stuff going. But yeah, so kind of wanted to jump in and talk about what it looks like to play when the meta shifts. And I think you and I, coming from like TCG World, Magic the Gathering specifically, we dealt with rotations and bannings and things changing a lot. So you kind of had to be used to adjusting your gameplay and what you were playing to those changes. I mean, and we haven't experienced that very much in the last like 9 months here when it comes to Shatterpoint, just because we haven't had the releases, haven't had a lot of that. So I think I felt like something kind of interesting to talk about, like what it looks like to deal with a changing meta and kind of what you do. I mean, I think like some people, like I said, what we see with some players is they just kind of went back to what they knew previously. Like you look at, Grand Moff Eric still played a lot of the stuff that he played before. He played his Thrawn and Moff Gideon list, and I think so. So some people are going to go to that, but he also did bring the Morgan Elsbeth with Veers as well. So I mean, it's one of those where I think a lot of times people will kind of revert back to, okay, what's the most comfortable thing for me to play, and and what am I going to do with that? So because like if you look at it, he played his Thrawn list 4 of the 5 games that he played. So definitely he started out with just getting that or the Morgan and Veers list out of the way in round 1, and then just has played his Thrawn Gideon list the rest of the way so far. And I think that's kind of one of the ways to go with it, is like, okay, well, I know what I am comfortable with. I know what to play. I mean, what do you think?
Well, the first thing when you talk about rotation, what always happens in Magic, and I know we don't have exactly this analog of like aggro mid range control in our game, but most of the time, the thing that rises to the top in the early days of a meta is aggressive lists. You want to be the one asking the question, "Can you stop me?" And so I'm not surprised that Jedi Hunter's seeing a lot of love here in both Republic and Empire, because I mean, is there is there anything more aggressive than Vader dice? I mean, there's a lot of aggressive strategies in this game, but getting up in their face, adding extra dice, and doing a bunch of melee feels like you have to answer this right now, or I'm gonna roll you over. So make that makes sense. And then as people get more comfortable with their lists and with the new stuff that's come out, then you'll start to see people push back against those aggressive lists. You'll start to figure out the answer. I actually really liked. I know. I just listened to it yesterday because I've been so busy this week, so I keep referencing them. But go listen to Rogue Support's last, they're trying to pull a Red Mando's and have a 3-hour episode. That's why it took me so long. I've been listening to it in bursts here and there, like 20 minutes ever so often. That's why it took me so long. So pull out some popcorn, get settled in your comfy chair, or go find a project to do for a couple hours. But they were talking about sideboards in Magic, and how in Magic you have a list of 15 cards that you can swap out of your main deck and put in things to answer. And I think it was Damiel Matt that said, he's like, or it was either him or Accuser. I can't remember. And he knows who was really going to be. It was Dizzard, and that's the one person I did say. But uh, they were saying, well, in Premiere, that's kind of what you do. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of this. All right, I'm going to bring my comfort list. It's probably going to be a little aggressive. That's what I'm going to lean on. And then my other Premiere list, I'm going to put I'm going to put some answers in it, like some diceless displacement or some tie-breaking techie stuff. Like it might not be the more powerful list, but it's going to be all right. I also need an answer because Todd. I don't know. I didn't play a lot of these in the early days of the meta because I was always trying to force control no matter what. Always be controlling was my philosophy. How do aggro mirror matches go? Do you play for 5 minutes and then go get a snack break?
Yeah, that's
How do
exactly
you
how it
deal
is.
with aggression
Just
via aggression?
I mean, yeah, it's just you just basically try and kill everything as quickly as possible, and whoever goes first wins most of the time in those types of things, or whoever can sit there and leverage their aggression the best way. I mean, but like I said, you definitely see a lot of that. I mean, I was looking at like General Joseph, like he brought a separatist list making Luminara basically an honorary separatist because it was basically like Luminara with Kalani and the B1s and then Grievous with Kraken and the B2s. And that was his list that he played pretty much all the way except for he played a boss hunter list like once. And that was just like his last round type of a thing. But again, like basically kind of just leaning into knowing what Kalani does, knowing what Kraken does, knowing what General Grievous does, which is again, they're very aggro. And I think, and then leveraging, the new B1s and the new B2s. And there wasn't a lot that changed, especially with the B2s. You just now can just add even more dice to B2s is basically what's happening with them. So basically kind of, again, going back to something that you already know and everything along those lines. And I think the B1s are like the only thing that like had a bit of a change, but it's something that's we've seen in the game before. So it's not something that you wouldn't be used to playing. But that's, I think, like I said, a lot of people going to that, going with the new stuff and everything along those, or not avoiding the new stuff, kind of just trying to go with what your comfort level is, and maybe just dabbling a little bit here and there with those new things.
There's so I went further down into that event just to see some of the players that maybe didn't do as well, but they brought some spicy stuff. Like there was a Freedom Fighter Leia Hera list that was rocking Sabine and Callus, Rebel Commandos, and Bartu, and I'm like, this is wild. Yeah, they didn't do that well, but they're also bringing separatists, and I don't know. I didn't look at the breakdown of how let's see. He played an even split, two and two. So. Mm-hmm. But there's just some fun. There's some fun stuff going on here.
And I think that's one of the nice things about like when you have like a rotation or basically kind of what we have, which is, in my opinion, in my view of it, it is a rotation. Is like you get to see some of the new things and you get to see the experimentation that happens. And I think that's a lot of like what you see is people dabbling with like, okay, is this going to work? Is that not going to work? And things along those lines, and what kind of rises to the top. But I mean, it's a slow, methodical. Especially like I look at it like when you looked at Magic, people could grind, 20 games in a day of Magic and really kind of figure out exactly what was going on. Where when it comes to tabletop games like this, you really don't have that ability to grind games as frequently and get as many test games in as you could previously. So that's one of the things that you see here is they're going to maybe that, and I think that's why people lean into, okay, I'm going to play what I'm comfortable with, and then I'm going to go ahead and have your quote-unquote sideboard, which is your other list of something different. Like I said, with Grand Moff Eric, he had the one time that he played the Veers and Morgan list where it was Morgan with Enoch and the Night Trooper, so basically her box, then with Veers, Stormtrooper, Sergeant, and Death Troopers, which I think is, a really good place to kind of put that list because you're getting a lot of that Stormtrooper stuff going on together. But he only played that one time just to kind of really get use of that. But he went 2-0 with that list into a Padme and Mace Windu list.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's fun. This is fun. Everyone, I'm just excited because we're not looking at, oh, there's 15 Cassians, there's 15 bosses. That's all the way down. Yeah, it looks like a lot of Empire, but it's a bunch of different Empire lists. Like that's what's fun about it. I mean, somebody was rocking K2SO and Rebel Pathfinders in this event. Like, now did perform the best? No, but we're seeing new stuff. we're
Right.
seeing new toys.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the beauties of rotations like this is that you do get to see the new things and everything along those lines. I am interested to see when people start to experiment with Baylan, though, because like I said, you just didn't see a lot of Baylan getting played across the two big GTs that we've had over the weekend. There was just a lot of Morgan, and I think that's to be expected. I think more than anything else is that because she seems to be the bigger character to play. I mean, like I said, when you look at the breakdown of like all of the primaries that were brought, Veers was brought 8 times there, and then 7 times was Morgan, and then 7 times was Vader too. So there was a lot of Empire in this one as well. I think that's kind of where the comfort spot is in the Vader list right now, and in the Empire list with all those Stormtroopers.
Well, and if you think about it, not saying that Baylan is what word am I thinking of here? He's going to be a little more technical to play, whereas Morgan has a lot of abilities that are very straightforward, right? Like she has a very clear cost reduction ability. She is going to be getting in there and doing a bunch of melee with her innate ability. Manipulating hand we've seen before on Mother. It's just it. If I was gonna pick which model is like I can slot it into something I already know how to play, it would be Morgan. Whereas Baylan, you're gonna have to construct a list around Baylan's abilities and probably get a little, like a few extra reps with him
Right.
before you're gonna feel comfortable taking him to an event.
Right. Yeah. Morgan is very like it's nothing. There's new things going on with her, but there's nothing that is something that is going to feel awkward or when you're just starting to play it. It's definitely all things that all sorts of gameplay that you've experienced before. Where, like you said, with Baylan, it's yes, he has like a similar thing to Obi with hunker tokens, but it's very different too, and how those tokens, how those hunkers get utilized is a little bit different. So I think there's just a little bit of learning lines of play a little bit differently than you did before. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how he plays out.
Well, and as somebody who has made this mistake more than once with Fulcrum, you also have the fact that like Baylan can just burn through your force. I think Diz was talking about that because if you don't have a way to force refresh or get cost reduction in the rest of your list, like there's games where you're like, okay, I gotta move him twice, and I gotta pull somebody off this point. Bye, force. just gone. Just gone.
Yeah, and I think that's, and Force being such a finite resource, I mean, it might be that he just doesn't see a lot of play because of that. But I don't know. I think, well, like I said, people will always, when when something new comes out, people tweak it, play around with it until they figure out what the best thing to do is and things along those lines. And I think that's one of the nice things about where this meta is now, that the obvious thing of Boss and Cassian is not as obvious anymore. There's a lot of room for experimentation and things along those lines. But I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I mean, especially looking at like the GT in New Jersey at Matt's GT. I mean, Plo Koon, he went 2-0 in his games. Thrawn went 5-0 in his game, so he had a really good run. There was Luminara was played in 6 games, and she went 5-1, and Grievous went 3-1. I mean, but again, that's the Luminara Grievous, that has to do with General Joseph and being such a great pilot. The Thrawn, that just has to do primarily just with Grand Moff Eric and him being an amazing pilot of Thrawn. So there's a little bit of skewed numbers there, I think, simply just because of who was piloting it. But I mean, Boss still was brought in 9 games and went 6-3. So, he's still doing well for sure.
Again, they're not bad models now. You're just not gonna walk up and knock everybody's models off the table with them every time instantaneously.
Right. And I think that's definitely a good thing for sure. That's definitely where you're not gonna have that horrible piece of it. But what's interesting to me is Cassian in this particular list was brought 3 times, and he didn't win a single game. He went 0-3 in New Jersey.
No, don't say that, Todd. Remember, I want to bring Cassian next week. I'm doing the same thing as we're talking about. I'm like, well, the lists I know best are Rebel Alliance. I've been playing a lot of Cassian. I am going to happily be the guinea pig and be like, all right, I'm going to bring a Cassian list next week and report back to you all. Like, the king is dead. Long live the king. Well, okay, maybe not in my hands, but we'll let you know. We'll let you know. What's fun though is now I'm looking at spies, because remember, the only way you're getting Cassian's full effect is with spies, and so I might be bringing like K2SO again, and maybe pairing him with Jin, like leaning more into the spy theme.
I mean, I think that in a way that's probably the way to go, and I think that's it was interesting. Like when the game first came out, they kind of stayed away from like really going tag centric, and I think the game kind of got itself pulled that way to where people just really did play spies like a tag centric list, like either Galactic Republic or Separatist, things along those lines. And that's not how the game was initially designed, but I think that's just kind of the way all of the players kind of went with it. But I mean, yeah, spies is kind of a fantastic way to go. I mean, there's lots of good options there. You still have, you could dust off Daring Luke there if you wanted to, or something along those lines too, but there's a lot of good options. Yeah, you could definitely go K2SO if you wanted to. There's always Bodhi Rook there. I mean, there's all sorts of fun things that you can do with these lists.
Yeah. The only thing is I don't want to go too deep, because I know I saw somebody brought Rebel Pathfinders and Rebel Commandos with their Cassian Jin, and I'm like, I don't know if Pathfinders are still there. So it might not be full spies, because I think I still want to put Bazin and Chirrut on the table. So I'm kind of thinking like Jin, Bodhi, Bazin Chirrut, and then like Cassian K2 Rebel Commandos. I don't know. I don't know if it'll play well, but it'll be interesting. We'll
so
see.
Pretty much almost both boxes completely is really what you're looking at.
Yeah, I just can't. I'm sorry, Accuser. I know you love Rebel Pathfinders. I want to love them too. I really wish they just deleted that weird cloak and dagger ability, gave them something else, and then gave them one more dice in range. They don't need a lot of changes. Like, actually, literally, you could not even give them an ability back. If you just deleted Cloak and Dagger from their card, it would be the same card, and then just give them one more dice in range. Done. I fixed them for you, AMG. Please do that in the next balance update. That won't be for like another while.
Yeah, you just wait a year, and maybe they'll sit there and do that for you. But I strongly doubt it.
They have such a good kit. It's fine.
Right.
It's fine.
So basically, like we kind of talked about, going with your comfort level. What about like when you start experimenting with like the new stuff? I mean, like, do you just go all in with like, oh, I'm going to put all the new stuff in, or do you kind of do it piece by piece? I mean, for me, it was like more along the lines of, all right, I'm just going to take in one new thing until I get like see how that works, and then build off of the one new thing at a time. But I think looking at like some of the lists that were out there, some people really did just kind of go all in and go, I'm going to try all the new stuff, like and see how that kind of played out.
I think because of what you were saying earlier, tabletop gaming takes longer than card games. Like normally, I would agree with you, and I would say, yeah, try one thing at a time, see how it works in an existing list, and then keep iterating. But if you're like me and you don't have a lot of free time, I absolutely understand doing the opposite and just throwing it on the table and see what happens. Because I mean, sometimes that's what you got to do. I've used plenty of tournaments where people are trying to win, and I'm over here like, I'm just trying to see if this list idea that I have is even gonna work. So, so I mean, I see wanting to go all in on new stuff. I would say if you have the time, do what Todd is saying and change one thing and test it, and change another thing and test it, and change another thing and test it over time. If you don't got time, well, jump into the deep end and hope you float.
Right. I mean, I've seen a lot of people where they kind of just like shadow box, where they'll sit there and just like put models into a specific scenario and shadow box and play like two or three activations on each side just to kind of see, okay, did this thing do what I wanted it to do? Did it make sense to do this? No. Okay, move on to the next, and then go from there. I mean, so there's different ways to test and iterate. I mean, even like when you would look at Magic, like a lot of times you would just play first 5 turns and then go from there. And if you're, especially when you're testing, you don't play a full game, you just test here and there. And I think that's something to keep in mind is like when you're testing some of this new stuff is, okay, maybe just set up certain scenarios. You put models in certain places, you test, not necessarily opens, but maybe like, okay, if after 3 activations on each side, here's where models would potentially be. Let me play out the next 5 turns or something along those, like next 3 activations on each side and see. And I mean, that's something you can do and just kind of reset and okay, I'm going to change out this model for that model type of a thing and see how that plays out. So you can definitely do options like that as well to kind of see, because it's, I know, like, especially if you're like a newer, more casual gamer, changing out an entire list and putting in all those new things can kind of be a little confusing and be
Right,
kind of a
right.
drain.
It does also depend on your experience level and your comfort level. If you are more comfortable with what you're putting the list into, like if you're doing a mix and match, then it'll probably be easier for you. If you're newer to the game, I mean, you could just try the new stuff and not worry about any of the old stuff. Just take the box as is and see what happens. Like
Right.
that's fine too. That's fine too. I do like what you said. That's a good reminder that we can do quick setups and quick scenarios. That's something I haven't done enough of. I know I said I was going to, and you just reminded me that I haven't been. So maybe I should do that a little bit more and get some testing in on these nights when I'm not getting Shatterpoint games in.
Yeah, I mean, there's always like other ways to go about it. I mean, like I said, shadowboxing is probably not the most fun way to play because I mean, like you really want this to be an interactive game. I mean, that's kind of why we play games, is for that interaction of having someone across the table and everything along those lines. But there's a lot of people in areas where you might not be able to have like a constant. I mean, we're in like what, the 5th largest city in the United States, and you still have trouble getting games in sometimes, depending on what's going on. So yeah, it's definitely something that you can kind of work your way through and see if that works out.
And it's also summertime, and people want to be in the pool or at the lake or doing other stuff with their weekends, especially before it jumps another 20 degrees outside.
Right. Yeah, because it's been nice like in the 100, like the 80s this past week or weekend, and it's like, okay, yeah, well, we know 115 is coming, so you want to enjoy it before that 115 is coming, and then you're definitely going to be like, yeah, I'll be inside playing Shatterpoint.
Yep. I'm trying to think anything else with the meta. Oh, the one thing that I always like to remind people. Now Magic does this way more intentionally, where they'll seed things in. I mean, AMG has done this too, right? Like, because we got we got the Cassian box before the Jin box, and so like Cassian wasn't even that big of a problem until he got his friends Baze and Chirrut in the mix, and so What I also challenge people to do is look back at things that you haven't played in a while and that maybe you enjoyed but they weren't good in the meta or they didn't have the right tools or the right pieces. Now is the time. Republic and Empire just got a giant glow up. So look at Plo Koon. Look at Pawns again. Look at, well, okay, Pawns is not really a hot take anymore. I think everybody knows Pawns and Seven Scorch are really good, but you get the idea, right? Right, Todd. It's look for things that you might have overlooked in the past because they now have new options to pair with them. And like this is list builder's dream time. The meta isn't settled. There's a big churn. You got something that you really wanted to try that's been sitting in a box for a few months. Go grab it.
Yeah. I mean, Ewoks have been updated. You know, the hunters and the trappers have both been updated. So maybe it's time to sit there and put them back on the table and see if that takes your play style with the Ewoks up to that next level type of a thing. Because like that's one of the things I've seen is like a lot of these lists, like they are, you know, trying out the hunters and the trappers in a lot of these Ewok lists that are out there, and seeing if those are actually going to do anything. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think that's a good way to go with it for sure.
All right, Todd. So I know I talked about playing Rebels. I've also mentioned in the Discord. I think I might be putting Jedi Hunter on the table just because it's fine. It's fine. I can play him in Republic. I have. You know what? I'm doing the Sheev route. I got a proxy Anakin, Sithy Anakin before he gets put in the suit. Darth Vader that I'll be putting on the table. That's what I'll do once I get around to painting it. So it'll make me feel better. But what about you, Todd? What are you feeling about trying first? Do you want to go the Baylan route? You want to go Morgan? Are you going back to you? Because didn't you play a little bit of Empire? You played a lot of Moff Gideon. You going back to your buddy Moff Gideon? What's in your head?
I really do want to try Baylan in like in like a mercenary type of a list, like with Mandalorian. I think that's kind of where I would want to go. See, I mean, because there is a little bit of more, because you can sit there and play off of the hunker tokens a little bit. So I think that's kind of where I would start, is probably with that. Again, I still want to sit there and play around with Padme, but it seems like a lot of people have already kind of gone that way, and I always am the person who's like, no, I'm going to play something different than what everyone else is playing. So
Right. I might have to play like Jedi Hunter Morgan or something because I still want to play with Morgan, but I'm gonna have to play her different. I feel you. I don't know if I want to play Empire with everybody else. I want to do something else. Nah.
yeah, I mean, and I like playing Mando. I mean, that's where I've been for a while, is like enjoying playing Mando, and it's like it'll be like I want to see, you know, something if the Baylan, if that's where his home is with like a Mando list, or if there's somewhere else to go with it. Because I did see out and about in the wild, there was I think it was at the UK event, someone was playing like an all bounty hunters list with Baylan in it as well, and I think that'd be kind of a fun thing to experiment with as well. So
It was Phil Johnson. He played
right.
Maul, Baylan, Mando, and Cad Bane. And ooh, yeah, with Shock. Maul had Shaak Ti and the Padawan learners, and he had IG-88 with Mando and Bartu, Dengar, Han, and Chewie with Cad, and then Baylan box as is. On strategic position. Ooh, yeah. Todd, play this. This looks like fun.
Well, then
Or
there was
something
somebody else.
like
There was also Kian who played like he played an armor with Mando, but then also had the Baylan box with Cad Bane. So it was like Cad Bane, IG-88 bounty hunters with armor, Paz, and the Mandalorians, and then Mando with Bosk and IG-11. And then the final thing was Baylan with Shin Hati and the assassin droids. So that looked interesting as well, like just kind of an interesting like all scoundrels, mercenaries type of a list. So there's like some fun experimentation. I think that's kind of what the biggest thing to take away from rotations and updates is that this is your time to experiment and have fun with it, and kind of see what you can do instead of just playing what everyone has determine the best thing to do is. And I think that's kind of like the fun part about where we are in the game's life right now, is that that's good. But and the last shout out I want to do is like our over the Tabletop Impulse. I was talking about that podcast yesterday. Phil Johnson from there actually did go 4-1 over at the UK Expo and did a fantastic job playing a Baylan list. He played Baylan and Lord Maul. So it was Baylan, Shinhati, and the Assassin Droids with Maul, Shakti, and the Padawan learners as well. So and then he
that's
also
the
had Mandalorian.
that's the one I was talking about.
That was about Phil. Yeah, Phil's. I mean, and he always, he's got his pulse on it, so he plays a lot of cool stuff. So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, pretty exciting stuff. I mean, is there any other closing thoughts for you though, there, Aubrey?
No, I'm just excited to roll some dice, do some painting, get some more models on the table. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. Well, as always, everyone, thank you very much for listening. If you want to support the podcast, you can always do so by becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month. If that doesn't work for you, you can always review the podcast on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on, or just if you are watching us on the YouTubes, you can definitely like, subscribe, leave us a comment, let us know what you're thinking about everything that we're talking about, and let us know kind of what you're planning on playing. You can also just jump in the Discord and go into the podcast discussion and talk about the list that you're experimenting with. I'd like to hear like kind of what everyone else is experimenting with and what they're wanting to do and what they're wanting to play. So it should be a fun time and everything along those lines. Tell us how your events have been going. And like everything that you've been able to go and play, and if you've had any success with any new lists or anything along those lines. But other than that, as always, thanks again for listening, and may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.